kind and has put up what our numbers for Roy compared to Weber on the website. So have people look at it and follow it, and she'll keep updating that with the numbers. Because right now we have about 15% of the population, but our numbers are around 21 to 25% of the positive cases. So.
Well,
not good, not good.
no. What about out at Job Corps? How's it going out there?
Well, right now they're still very few students, so they're delaying. They were going to bring them back in July, but they're delaying now with our spike. So we'll see.
So do you still go out? You don't even go out there now then, do you? Since there's no students?
They're getting geared up. So we're back full time the last few weeks. Before that, it was just a few hours a week.
Oh, okay.
Because we still have to monitor their health and stuff, I guess, as a distance. But
Hi, Matt.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Good. How's everybody else?
Looking good.
Good. Leon having a good birthday?
Absolutely.
Good. Good.
Hello. Oh, look at the mayor. He's got his own flag.
Yeah.
We never get to see Travis. He keeps himself hidden, and Morgan usually.
Come on, Trav.
I have a police officer laptop, and the video camera, like it would really bother you if I clicked it on. It's broken and it doesn't work well.
Andy's laptop's having technical difficulties, so he's working on it.
And Councilmember Paul said he's going to be a few minutes late too. So he could.
Hello, Brian.
Brian.
How are you?
All is well. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
And Craig's there hiding as well. Hey, there we go. Hello.
There's Joe.
Just a short clip. That's all you get.
Okay, Morgan, what time is it?
I have it as 5:28 on my laptop, but I'm still trying to help Andy. So just 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah,
Hey, Andy.
my cell phone says 5:30, but.
Hey, Craig. I didn't get a chance to call you today, but seeing as how you're on here, I wanted to pass along a heartfelt thank you from the family of Preston. I was there that evening, Saturday. They are grateful for everything you went through to be able to allow the fireworks show to happen. They said your team was awesome. I backed that up. I was there. Hadley was wonderful. And your firemen did an awesome job. They really done it up for that young man.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. And yeah, they short notice, they were more than happy to take that on and everything. And a couple other departments got involved. It was great. Thank you very much for that.
Police and fire had a great turnout and was really nice to be able to do that for that young man. So
yeah, I'm glad he did that one. Surprising it, the wish was number one wish was a fireworks show. That was amazing.
Well, it was a little bit more than just a neighborhood fireworks show, but it was awesome.
Yes,
I saw it from my house. I text Matt, is that the fire show going on tonight? Because it's a pretty good one from my house. But he showed me the pictures of him in the fire truck and with all those mascots. That was awesome. I bet that little boy was so happy.
That helmet that they did for him and all the firemen signed it and all the mascots signed it. That was really, really well done up. Kudos to you and your team and the police department.
Yeah, thank you.
Council, we have an obligation to start our meetings on time. Obviously, it's a little after 5:30. So I do want to welcome you to this special city council meeting. And this meeting on June 29th, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. Is put together and primarily at the request of Weber County. Weber County has asked us as a municipality to consider a interlocal agreement. And in that interlocal agreement to address the CARES Act funding, we need to have a resolution passed by the council to go ahead and authorize that. And so that's the reason for the meeting. I should indicate to you, council, just for the record, the mayor can call a special meeting of the city council, but so can 2 city council members. The law is very clear that if 2 city council members believe there's a need to have a special city council meeting, 2 of you can in fact make that call. So just give you a heads up on that. Let me just do a roll call for the record. It looks like we have Councilmember Sexton with us, Councilmember Burrell, Councilmember Paul, Councilmember Jackson, and Councilmember Wilson. Okay, with that then, Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you. Just kind of give us a little bit of introduction of how we got here,
Okay.
and then we'll ask for comments from the council on the interlocal agreement.
All righty. Don't know if you can all see that. I'm going to share my screen real quick. The shortcut is not working though. There. Everybody see that? Okay.
Yep.
Mayor kind of introduced this a little bit, a lot better than I would. So good job, Mayor. Resolution 20-23. We sent this little presentation out with the packet. I'm gonna just go through it and kind of hit the highlights if that's okay, and not spend too much time on it. But the mayor indicated this is an interlocal agreement with Royce City and Weber County. To answer a couple of the questions of why it needs to be a special meeting is Weber County is needing this by tonight is the last day so they can adopt their end of the interlocal agreement tomorrow. They're also wanting to do some press conferences and different things tomorrow. But really they are pushed for time to get this information out. The CARES Act, as you know, mostly people know it as the stimulus bill that came out around March. A portion of that stimulus bill was actually allocation of funds for local governments. In order for a local government to get the funds directly from the federal government, they'd have to have 500,000 people or more. So Salt Lake City did receive theirs directly from the federal government. Our portion got allocated to the state of Utah. Upon their discretion, they are starting to filter that out to the cities. So that's what this money is coming from. They did their allocation upon really upon the population base. So the cities got it upon the populations and the counties got it upon their populations. Right now, they're only in the first of 3 rounds, 3 potential rounds. It depends on the availability of funds for the second and third round. These funds should only be used for COVID-related expenses in order to deal with this health emergency. You cannot use these on revenue shortfalls. As you know, with our budget, revenue is declining with sales tax. You cannot subsidize the sales tax loss with these COVID funds. You cannot spend it on things that were already approved in your budget, and the money is to be spent with the things that were related to COVID from March 1st, 2020 to December 30th, 2020. I need to let you know that because we are partaking of these funds, that a single audit is required. What a single audit is they pay particular attention to this funding. And it costs the city around $10,000 to $15,000 for a single audit. It basically doubles the audit processing time for the city. So obviously, detailed tracking of these grant expenditures is crucial. and the city needs to be very, very diligent in doing this. Part of the fact of joining with Weber County is they have a solution to spending this funds to give it out to the businesses that were impacted the most. Currently, city staff does not have the time or resources available to manage these types of sub-grantee quickly, especially with the requirements of the single audit. And that's one of the reasons why we want to join with Weber County. This first go around of funding, Royce City should be receiving roughly $1.1 million. Of that funding, the joint with Weber County would be around $1 million to be spent with alongside Weber County. Weber County is going to be getting $8 million. Of that, $7.2 million would be being able to participate with giving it back to the businesses that were affected. If a city does not participate in this interlocal agreement, then we would lose out on that Weber County portion, that $7 million. There is roughly 10,500 businesses in Weber County. 972 of those businesses that were in Roy. Roughly 176 businesses were closed due to the health order, but an additional 126 businesses were affected by that health order. This grant criteria, they're looking for, anybody that has a nonprofit or a profit business would be able to apply. The businesses must be within Weber County boundaries. They have to have significant impact by the pandemic. Businesses must be open or plan to reopen, but they also need to be current on their property tax and have no liens or anything. The grant amounts that Weber County is proposing is anywhere from $2,000 to $35,000. And most importantly is businesses must be able to have the ability to document and report these funds received. Some of the review and ranking, you think about the difference of the grant amounts of the $2,000, $35,000, it's going to be weighted upon has the business received federal or state funding due to COVID? Were the businesses unable to practice social distancing and needed to close, or they chose to close? And very importantly, are they independently or locally owned and having a physical location here in Weber County? Also, they may be able to participate a little bit more if they have full-time employees. So a big thing with Weber County is they're going to be doing a press conference. They'll do all the direct mailers. They'll do the emails to the business owners, the video, the webinar, through the application process, social media campaigns, and they're also doing a website just for this. That's some of the things that Royce City does not have the employees to do. A little bit of a timeline. Weber County wants to adopt this interlocal agreement by tomorrow in their commission meeting. June 6th, the grant applications would be accepted. And then by June 13th, the review of the applications. By July 27th, the notice of awards would be given to the businesses. So in a nutshell, that's everything there. We recommend that we approve this interlocal agreement with Weber County. That will allow city employees to focus more upon reaching out to our local businesses and helping them apply rather than trying to administrate the grants ourselves. So.
Okay, council, that's the recommendations. Comments, questions?
Couple of questions.
Mm-hmm.
How are we, Royce City, going to get word out to our businesses that might be interested in these funds? I would imagine we put it on our website, but will we put it out on Facebook, our Facebook pages? And
yeah,
Yes.
they're gonna be doing a couple of those campaigns, and then we can share that information. We do have lists. I've been talking to the Weber County Treasurer today, just this afternoon, John Bond. There's some discrepancies in the amount that their assessor's offices have of businesses versus what we have. The reason why that's more important is because that's just getting the word out to the businesses. And so we're going to be collaborating those lists and making sure that each individual that owns a business will get some type of information. But you're right, Councilmember Saxton, the Facebook website, they'll be doing a lot of their efforts as well. We do have a lot of contacts that we have. If we want to call them, we can do flyers. They'll be doing flyers too. But that's the most important aspect, is to know that, is to help them apply and get that word out. That will be the most challenging aspect of it as well for us.
I think it would be well advised for us to also make some personal calls. If you want to tell us who to call, I'd be happy to do that. Just because I don't know that they will be as personal with it as we might be.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm hearing Brian say too, is that, you know, if we make a personal contact, I think they're much more likely to make an attempt to go after it. And because so much of it is ours, I would really like to push for that. I don't know how others feel about that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's an excellent point, Dan. Let me offer a thought. First thing, so we don't compete against each other. Maybe, Matt, what we can do is consider breaking the city up into quadrants and give each council member and mayor an area, and then just simply reach out to them. Whether you do it with a personal contact, whether you do a phone call, whatever you choose to do. But I think there might be some merit to that, just to make sure the word gets out. Because when I did the numbers, based on the $3.4 million that was targeted to still come to Roy, we could have gave every one of the 972 businesses literally $3,000 each in compensation for this, based on the listing they had. Obviously, that'll be shifted differently now. But the important thing would be is that if I have a fear, the fear is going to be is that many people are not going to know. And so unless, as you're saying, Jan, we don't make that personal contact, this thing's going to fly right past them. And once the money's exhausted, it's exhausted. It's not like we can come back.
I would agree with that, Mayor. I think it's really important that they be well informed, and I think it's our obligation to make that happen.
So Matt, why don't you and I, maybe in the next couple of days, as this thing unfolds, let's see if we can't strategize, and let's ask the council members if they have the time to reach out.
Okay.
And just make contact.
I would do that for sure, as long as we had, you know, like I would probably rather go to their businesses and give them a paper with all the information on it, so they can have it there.
That would be really helpful. That's right, Ann. Mm-hmm. If we had a good sheet that they knew how to, what the process will be like.
Right.
Now,
when I tell it to them, they'll be totally confused. I'd rather have them read it off the paper.
Now, in that website I sent to each of you, there was a lot of media information, handout information that you'll see a lot that's in there. Weber County did ask that we don't start distributing that to the businesses until after the press conference tomorrow at now 11:30. So just be aware that they're asking us not to get that distribution going. But in that website or that email I sent you, there's a lot of good information they'll have. And I think, Matt, that's going to be talked about at some length tomorrow as well. So we should have some resources to get the information out.
It would be really helpful if we had a consistent page or something that I'd be happy to go, as well as Ann said, to go actually make a visit. But if I had something to say, this is how you do it, this is where that.
Okay, perfect.
I have a question in regards to the grant application time frame. It talks about July 6th. Is that like the first day that is accepted, or is that the final day?
No, first day.
That's the first day. And the final day then is
the 30th
or the 30th, or
I think it's the 27th.
Maybe it is.
The 27th would be the notice of awards. And so the money's just.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it's going to be best if you apply quick, because once the money's gone, it's gone. Right. And so they'll go until they run out.
Do they hit it on a first come, first serve, or when you say when the money's gone, it's gone? Is it? How's,
The first review of the applications is July 13th. And so anybody that would want we would
first
want them to
review.
do it before that first review. Because then
Okay.
they're going to distribute it. If they have money left over after the 13th, they could, the likelihood might go down if they've distributed everything.
Right,
okay. By the 13th would be their best.
The best
Yes,
thing. Okay.
correct.
right.
And then I have a
So,
question in
we
regards
need
to
to
go
gear.
ahead.
So I say we need to get our butts in gear and start
Yes.
getting the paper done right away and getting the
Yeah.
information, right?
Go
Diane?
ahead, Diane.
In regards to the checks that are being sent out, the money has to be done by the 30th. So as long as the notice of award is done by the 30th, I guess that's where it's okay to not have the checks
Yeah.
out until August.
Yeah, my understanding is the procurement has to be taken place. So you're obligated. So once that notice of award
Okay.
happens, then, but the
Yes.
distribution doesn't have to be by the 30th.
All
And
right.
so
liability.
what if all the money isn't used up if everybody doesn't apply or what does
We'll
It
be in
goes
for a
bye-bye.
mad dash. Supposedly we have to get, or we and them have to get the funding spent before the end of next month, the end of July, in order to be eligible for the second round.
That's right.
So they're anticipating that they're not going to have that problem. And maybe that goes into how much money they can offer each businesses upon how many applications they get. But they feel
So-
comfortable that they can do so.
so is this businesses like chain restaurants and everybody in Roy, or is this personal businesses?
Everything.
This is
Everything.
But it did
Any-
say preference would be given to locally operated.
Correct, yes.
right.
Right.
So you'd have to have some type of business in the location of Weber County in order to apply. Preference would be given to those that were affected. As you know, some businesses are actually doing a little bit better
Right.
due to COVID. So those type of businesses wouldn't be getting the preference as somebody like a daycare, somebody that had to close down due to it.
Maybe you said this and I missed it, Matt. The 10% that we're giving Weaver 90%, the 10%, where is that going? What
That would be going toward the city and related COVID expenditures. So we're playing with ideas right now. I'm gathering those types of decisions to present the city council for a budget amendment because we need a budget to give Weber County the money too. So we'll have that information prepared for you.
Okay.
But you'd be talking like touchless sinks. You'd be talking about sanitizer stations. And a great idea that I heard of is from Chief Marino, just about doing a sanitizer station for the police cars when they take somebody into Weber County, that they have a place to come back and sanitize their car afterwards. So things like that, just to slow or stop the spread.
Makes sense.
Okay.
I have a question for Andy. Hello, Andy.
Oh, yeah, how are you, Diane?
On the contract, I know we just got that kind of later. So I just wanted to reaffirm that the contract is the initial 1/3 only, right?
Yes.
And so we are not tying up the last thirds, but then on section 2 of section 1, I should say number 2 of section 1, it talks about a 90-day written notice to the county if we wanted to terminate the participation.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering how that fits in because the money is supposed to be gone by then, right? Or is this a way for them to slip into second and third sections, or just wondering where that fits in?
It could very well be that, and I don't know for sure, but I do know that 90 is pretty standard for this type of agreement.
And so so I guess if the money's not gone by, because the money's got to be gone by basically the 30th, right?
First
That I'm not-
allocation.
Yep. Yes, that's correct.
Get access to the second and third. We've got to spend all the first. And then we'll get allocation for the second. And we have to spend all of the second before we're authorized to get access to the third
To
bundle.
the third.
Mhm.
So if a business defaults on this, it falls back to Weaver County because we're turning it over to Weaver County and not
Correct.
to Roy City.
Mhm.
That's right.
That's the biggest part, is the administration part of this. We're not able to. Well, I don't know what
it's bigger than we can,
Manage.
Yeah, if we don't have the
There you go.
capability to manage it.
thank you. I was looking for a word, but I couldn't get it out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Well, there's one piece to this. It's in there, and Andy and I talked about it just a little bit. There's the piece in there that talks about 2 city employees being on the evaluation
Right.
team.
I saw that.
And I guess, Matt, how do you thinking we may want to work that?
Well, I've talked to Weaver County about that and actually suggested that to them, and they said they'd be more than willing to let us. They said it would be quite a bit of work for those 2 employees, and so we'll have to discuss that. I suggested at the very least, if we don't have the ability to allocate an employee directly for the review process, if we can have just sign-offs. We also talked to them about having the ability to look anything over that we want, and that's something that we can do too. And so as an organization that's getting this money from the state, as part of the audit function and giving this money, we have to have that ability. So.
Or it just seems like good checks and balances as well.
Yeah. So we'll be in contact with them. That might be myself. That might, if somebody else wants to partake in that. But I don't think they're that far into knowing who exactly is doing it. They have 2 Weaver County employees involved that they've already assigned to do all this, so they know who they are, but not the other additional 2 employees.
Will that be announced?
I'm sure at some point in time, yeah, they'll get that word out.
Okay.
I would think it would put a lot of pressure on somebody.
Yeah.
Mayor, in response to Diane's comments, I was just going through the agreement here. It's a 1-year agreement that can be extended on a year-to-year basis. So I guess with the administration of that, it could take over that time period. And so that's probably why they have that 90-day termination provision.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
This sure in hell better not go on for another year. Don't even say that.
Hey, Council, any other questions or comments you have in terms of this resolution proposal? Okay, hearing
No, I
none.
think it makes sense to turn it over to Weaver County. When I first heard about it, I thought, I'm not going to be bullied into this by the county to turn our money over to them. But as I talked to Matt and worked through the fact of there's a big administration piece to this, accountability. Plus, after I found out that if we don't turn it over to Weaver, there's no chance for our businesses to get any of that matching funds. So we could potentially get more money in Roy by turning it over to Weaver County than if we didn't turn it over to Weaver County and did it ourselves. So, I think the odds are in our favor, and the fact that the city's not liable for this after it's distributed, I think it's the right decision to make.
That was exactly my process, Joe. I went through that same, no, I don't want to do it, to learning more about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I would
And as
agree.
you probably may or may not be aware, 2 cities elected not to participate. Ogden went ahead and decided to go ahead and do their own. They have the resources, I suspect, and surprisingly, Harrisville. I was really quite surprised that they chose to go ahead and not do it. But all of the other cities have joined in this interlocal agreement.
I bet Harrisville, because they only have probably 2 or 3 businesses out there, don't they? Probably was going to be easy for them.
To be honest with you, I'll tell you exactly what they've got. Harrisville has 103 and only 9, excuse me, that's Huntsville. Harrisville has 200 and they have only 43 businesses that were priority 1. And priority 1 were in fact the businesses that were directed to close as a result of the pandemic. As it relates to Roy, as Matt indicated in the beginning, we had 176 businesses that were directed to close immediately upon the issuance of that executive order. Okay, so here's the question, Council. Do I have a motion then to approve Resolution 20-23, the resolution approving the interlocal agreement between Weaver County and Roy City?
So moved.
Second.
Joe, give me the first, Jan, give me the second. This is a roll call vote. Morgan?
Councilmember Saxton,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilson,
Aye.
Councilmember Burrell,
Aye.
Councilmember Jackson,
Aye.
Councilmember Paul.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay,
Mayor,
one
just-
last piece to this. I just need to ask you, Matt, tomorrow, at 11:30, there is a press conference. I mentioned to the city or county that I'm going to ask you to join me if you'd like to join me. Just send me a text if that's still available. You're still available to go down there and
Yes.
do that.
I was planning on that, Mayor. Yep.
Okay, then I'll meet you up at your office. Maybe we'll just ride down together.
Okay.
Council, anything else?
Yes. Just a reminder to you, Mayor, and to you, Diane, Wednesday, 5:30, BAB meets.
Okay. Wednesday,
And
5:30,
and we meet at the city offices.
right, downstairs.
Yeah, downstairs.
Okay, that's 5:30, Wednesday. Okay, it's on my calendar. Thank you. Anything else, council?
No,
Matt,
just, my thoughts are still with you, Mayor, of the loss of your son. I guess it's good to keep busy, huh?
That's what we're trying to do. I'm surprised some of you guys haven't complained. I sent you a lot of stuff over the weekend in large part because I want to get it off my mind. So,
Yeah, I bet.
We're
so
thinking
anyway,
of,
Yeah.
Yes.
thank you. Yeah, we have to work through these kind of things. Hey, thank you. Matt, thanks for your team putting it together. Obviously, it was a quick turn. I appreciate that. Morgan, thanks for organizing this. It's always been good when you get in the middle of your projects and you get things done rather effectively. So thank you. Anything else, council? Okay,
Nope.
with that, do I have a motion then to adjourn?
I motion we adjourn.
Thank you, Ann. Do I have
I'll
a second?
second. I'll second.
Diane, thank you for the second. All in favor?
aye.
Okay, any opposed? Enjoy your day. Thank you. And Matt, I'll
Okay,
see you
thank you.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Be
you.
safe.